dun. And your spot's been taken over by Pixel.
Once again,
Or Pixie Roll.
I have no seat.
I'm not complaining.
Nope. I imagine you're not. So, Pixie, what is with today's show?
No idea. No.
Well, maybe we should start by introducing ourselves and saying hello and welcome, I suppose.
Yeah.
And before we crush the cat, we don't want to crush the cat. There we go.
No, we don't want to crush the cat. Good kitty. No. So, I am Peter Boswell,
And I'm William Kirby.
and we are Kettle and Dice with our new show, D&T, or in this case, Critical Tea.
Or in this case, cat
The
bun. Oh, this is going to go brilliantly.
Yeah, this is going to go great. Oh, God. This is what will bring in the views, don't worry. Pixel. Come on. Get it up down. No, he's just... there we go.
Thank you,
Good boy.
Pixie.
Right. Stay there. For now. So, William,
Yes.
what are we doing here?
So, long story short is I think we should start with how we found Critical Role,
Mm-hmm.
what direction we're going to go with in the show,
Natural.
and maybe talk about a bit in this session about how it's affected us generally.
As people and as players and such. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Anything you would like to add?
Well, I'd also like to talk about, where the direction the show will be going,
Mm-hmm.
the other shows that we'll be having, such as D&D discussions,
Yeah.
and of course, Critical Tea and their differences.
Yeah.
Make sure people don't get confused between the two.
Agreed.
And hopefully when they will air, scheduling, things like that we can hopefully sort out at some point.
Yep. Well, eventually we will get that all sorted. For now, the scheduling's going to be Saturday sometime. We need to try and mark that.
Saturday.
Saturday sometime. Don't give me ideas. This is not the show for ideas. This is the show for explaining what our current ideas are.
It's not. Is it Saturday yet though?
Oh,
Can't use
no.
it. I think we get
No, it's not Saturday yet.
No.
Actually, it is, but that's beside
the point. So, William, first,
yes.
how did you find Critical Role?
Originally, I found Critical Role through a show called Mythica with Matthew Mercer, who played, I think it was Salazar, the evil villain lich.
Oh, he's a necromancer.
Well, necromancer, lich.
Lich type, yeah.
Yeah.
That evil wizard archetype.
Absolutely brilliant show, and if you've not seen Mythica, I do recommend going and seeing it. It's available on Amazon Prime.
Which those of you with Amazon Prime would obviously have, as you'll be able to get your free Critical Role show on that. So,
Yeah,
getting Mythica shouldn't be a problem.
Unless they start putting prices
Unless they
on
start
it.
putting
But,
prices on it.
yeah, anyway, worth it. Definitely worth it. But that whole sort of Mythica style of the film and the way it was done is very much, when you watch it, you can sort of go, yeah, this is a D&D game that's been taken to film. Even though when I've spoken with Matt Mercer, it wasn't a D&D game that was taken to film. It was a D&D idea that got scripted and taken
into film. Okay.
But for a low budget film, series of films, I should say, it was actually really, really good. But I found Matt Mercer, thought his voice, that's pretty good actually. I really enjoyed his voice acting in that, and just started Googling what else has Matthew Mercer been in, and
Which has been a lot.
accidentally came across Critical Role, and started binge watching from season 1, the first aired episode, all the way through to, well, today.
Hooked on ever since.
Critical Role. Critical Role, the drug you just want more of, but can only have once a week.
Yeah. Don't worry, there is more.
I'm only halfway through my dose this week.
I'm only about a quarter.
Fair enough.
It's been annoying. Really.
So, how about yourself?
Myself, well, when I first started playing Dungeons and Dragons was in university, and after that year, the first year had finished, I decided I needed to get more into D&D. So I went and found groups online. I went up and joined them. They at local meetups at pubs and things. And one of the players there was wearing one of the very earliest T-shirts with the names of each of the characters on it.
Oh,
Remember?
what the Vax and Vex and
Vexalia, Vexeldan, Percival,
etc.
Yeah. And after I sort of looked at it and just asked what it was, and she mentioned it's a show called Critical Role.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, okay, it's a it's a show where they play D&D. I was going, really? People want to watch that? It's just like, But eventually my curiosity got a hold of me, and I searched up just on YouTube. I found Geek and Sundry.
Mm-hmm.
Found the first few episodes and just sort of started watching, just like, wow, this is really low budget though. Like the audio is terrible, and then just started to go, oh wait, hang on, what's going on? Oh my god, that guy is. Oh my god, these guys are voice actors, and they're all very familiar and actually quite good. I'm just gonna keep Matthew Mercer's quite good actually. I like him as a okay, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do what he does. And have since been following the progression of Critical Role since. I think about the time I think they had just finished coming out the Underdark, and I just caught up, and they were just at that point.
Fair enough.
So it's still very
Cat
early
alert.
days. Cat alert.
Cat butt. I'm so sorry to anyone watching that. You just caught a glimpse of Pixie's cat butt.
Taken at the best moment ever.
Well, they do say if a cat puts a butt in your face, she loves you, so she must love the audience. There we go.
It's now her show now. So.
Cat approved.
Yeah, she runs this now.
That's going to be a problem.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be an issue. So that was my introduction into Critical Role.
Okay.
And I think that's probably a common story for a lot of people is going into Dungeons and Dragons and then seeing, because I think a lot of us nowadays actually wear, like I'm wearing this shirt now. I've got the
Critical Role tops, etc.
It is something I wear regularly, and you know, if you wear it regularly enough, especially at your games, and if these people don't know, they're going to look at it and go, what is that a reference to? Because everybody wears reference T-shirts nowadays. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Except me. I try to be as bland as possible.
And so I think through those discussions, they actually learn more about what Critical Role is.
Yes, and you bring more into the phenomenally growing critter community, which
I mean, of course,
which right now is blowing my mind.
It's blown everything. Like the first time it actually blew my mind was at MCM Comic Con. We are of course from Britain. We had some of the Critical Role cast come up to Comic Con in London for the first time last October.
Yeah.
And we essentially broke. We broke them. It was just like they had no idea about the kind of numbers that we're getting, and that broke my mind to a point where the second panel had to be taken in the larger room because the first room they had planned would not have been big enough. It was like in the center of the actual venue.
They wanted to try and use the BuzzFeed stage, which houses about 20 people.
Not enough. So back into the main stage, where a lot of us were just waiting, like good couple of hours, just watching other stuff, just going, oh, that's interesting, and then waiting for the Critical Role to start.
Mm-hmm.
Like you, did you see that one?
I saw the one on Sunday.
So did I. Yeah.
I could not get into the one on Saturday. So that was the first time I kind of realised how big
Mm.
Critical Role actually
Well,
was.
no, you knew it was
Like-
big, but it was actually like it actually gives you an example of how big it is.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was big.
Yeah.
But before Comic Con October last year, I never had a sort of reference
Yeah.
point to sort of go, oh wow, this is huge.
Yeah.
I mind blown.
Yeah.
But then more recently with their Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Um,
I believe the current count is 7.5 million.
7.8.
7.8 million.
Yep, they've blown all of their. They've blown all of their
Cool.
goals, stretch goals.
Yeah.
They've got one last one, which is 8.8 million, which please.
We want Ashley to run a game. Please keep going, guys. We can do it.
Yep, we want Ashley to run a game. I do not want to see a series with the last 2 episodes unfinished. That's just big no-no. So, if anyone is out there who hasn't given in to the Kickstarter yet,
Or you want to add more onto what you've already given.
or that, please do. We at Kettle and Dice have donated £110. No, $110 because the
Currency exchange. And
currency exchange, etc. Works out about 77 quid, I think they said. But so we've got that, and when we get bits and pieces from that, we will probably have it here. So yes, but do go support Critical Role with their current Kickstarter, and let's blow their minds some more.
Cue the Critical Role like intro music to the Kickstarter. No.
No, can't do that because we'd get copyright
Yeah.
claimed, I think.
Yeah. But even still, go support them, guys.
Yep, please do, and hopefully there's been no announcements yet, but hopefully they'll come back this year
Fingers crossed.
to Comic Con London, and hopefully this time they will have better organisation.
Well, that's more. That'll be more on the part of the Comic Con team. But yes,
Yeah.
now that they've understood what happens when these people come, they'll hopefully go right. Let's plan for this because
yeah,
I want Critical Role cast. Please do come back. We miss you.
we honestly do miss you, and my Tal'Dorei campaign book.
Is incomplete.
It's incomplete at the moment. I need Travis
Yes.
and
we
Laura
need
Bailey
and we need Ashley Johnson,
and Ashley Johnson. So
as well as any of the other guest stars. Any of you
Please.
guest stars who have been in Critical Role, come to London. We wish to see you.
we
Mary,
do.
Freddie, Ashley, any of you, we would love to have you here. Be welcomed with open arms and signing Tal'Dorei campaign books. Sign.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So I think after that, we've talked about how it's affected sort of the general populace.
yes.
How has Critical Role affected you, William, as a person or as a gamer or?
It's weird. It's strange how it has actually affected me. I mean, I've always liked D&D. I started playing when it was 3.5 as a player, and sort of progressed from there and became a DM. And one of the things that really clicked with Critical Role and myself was, specifically speaking, Matthew Mercer. His DM style. It's how I like to tell stories. And when I heard him on Critical Role for the first sort of few sessions, I was like, oh, and something just clicked. And since then, I'd been looking for a group to sort of DM and sort of develop my own style from it.
Yeah.
Like, it's very much influenced me in probably, I would say, the most positive of ways. It's helped me progress towards actually gaining confidence in myself. And then when I met the crew at Comic Con, it was it was mind blowing, but at the same time, it's just so positive. Like the effect it's had on me has just been so positive throughout.
Yeah.
Building my confidence, building my ability to communicate, teaching me things I never knew through D&D, like math. No.
What are these numbers? How do they work?
Yeah, and sort of D&D and Critical Role in general, the pair of them sort of together combined has re-sparked my creativity that I lost many, many years ago for various reasons. But yeah, it's re-sparked that kindling of passion and creativity that I thought I'd lost.
It's a wonderful thing to try and find that, and actually something to inspire you in that way, which it has done in many terms.
Yes. And yourself?
Much like yourself, at the time that I was watching Critical Role, as I said, I was in university. I was also dealing with a lot of my own social problems. Not been generally very social in my life, and D&D helped with that, but also Critical Role helped because I watched the show and I watched Matt Mercer. I think this is the same thing with you. Watching Matt Mercer has been a very huge influence, mostly.
Yeah.
As watching what he did, sort of bring these people together and having them laugh at what happens, having them describe everything, and for them to actually be invested in such, it made me want to sort of emulate that. And he's the whole reason that I started being a dungeon master, because I watched that and I'm like, that's what I want to do. And it has since changed the way I think. It has strengthened my relationships with a lot of my old friends and new ones along the way. And it's just taught me to be a better player and a better person in general. And as I said, as you said, meeting the crew for the first time in October was a big thing for me. These people are literally heroes to me, especially Matt Mercer. And it was my birthday also at Comic-Con as well.
That's right, it was.
And on that day, I was able to meet Marisha Ray. And got to sign my Teodori guide, and she's a lovely person in general, just lovely to meet. And I wasn't able to get an autograph, but my friend had bought me a photo shoot session with Matthew Mercer.
Yeah.
And so just waiting in the queue and got up to the very end, and just seeing him there, ended up getting weak in the knees.
Yeah.
And actually meeting him, and he's a hugger, which I love. I'm a hugger myself, so being able to do that is great. And afterwards, I generally we went to the side to where the photo booth was, and I ended up crying because I was so overwhelmed that I actually got to meet this person that I look up to so much.
You were starstruck.
I was genuinely starstruck, and
I'll admit I was as well when I met them, especially Matt Mercer. But I mean, when I met Brian Foster in the queue. Don't ask, but his queue was empty when I turned up. So I just went, okay, here you go, straight in, boom, get it signed, and was actually chatting with him for a good 5-10 minutes. And some of the things he was talking about, some of the things he was saying, like he has an Brian W. Foster, in the same way as Matthew Mercer, has that aura of confidence as well. He comes across as a complete, don't want to say it on the stream, but he comes across as a bit of a a-hole when on the stream, in regards to like the crude jokes and that sort of thing. But when you actually meet them, when you actually meet him, he was sort of the most loveliest, kindest, friendliest, decent, polite person I've ever met. And like I figured out, okay, Brian W. Foster isn't one of those. That's just a persona he puts up to get a few laughs out of the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
And believe me when I say it is for the rest of the crew, not necessarily for us, the audience, sometimes. But no, it. All of them though, in general, have inspired me in one way, shape, or form. Brian Foster with that complete air of confidence. Matthew Mercer with the storytelling and inspiring me with the creativity.
Yeah.
Marisha Ray, well, just she's outgoing and she's friendly, and these sorts of things. Like I'm looking at all of them and going, I want to be the best of all of them in one person.
Yeah.
And
Marisha's confidence comes out very much, and she always tries to push herself. To be better.
She's always pushing herself to be better. I wouldn't put that to confidence. I would put that to determination. Then you got Taliesin, who is the carny. Like free.
Long may he reign.
Oh God, yes. I really want him. Vote for Taliesin. No. I've made a promise, and I will be getting to that later on in the show. No, don't vote for Taliesin. Although long may he reign over the president. Yeah, no. So, Taliesin, that free flow, go with the flow, relaxing into the situation,
and be okay to be weird.
Well,
just in general, it's okay to be weird, and having that confidence of just sort of.
Well, I've always known that.
Yeah,
thankfully, but having from Taliesin, it's that air of calm. Like he's wacky, he's weird, he's all over the place, and having fun in that sense. But he's always calm, no matter what the situation. From the appearance that I've had, and from him, and so yeah, it's like trying to take bits and pieces of all of them. If Critical Role was just one person, it would be the best human being on the planet. And that's how it's affecting me. And I imagine in a similar way with yourself.
Yeah.
Moving on, however. Oh, my laptop locked, so my notes are not...
If you're experiencing technical difficulties, please stand back. There we go.
No technical difficulties here, just a password. Don't forget it. So, yes, moving on.
So, the direction of the show.
Yes.
So, at current, this one, which is Critical T, we will be talking about specifically Critical Role-based content. So, this will be talking about the cast themselves. We'll be looking into how they began, the characters that they portray, or multiple characters in Matt Merther's case.
Yes.
And sort of see how they sort of react and how they play, and sort of give commentary on that. Interactions with the other players who they work really well with, and what happened when we because a few of them we've met, and we'd like to sort of comment on our experience with them as well.
Yeah.
I think another thing that we could talk about, as we've got the Kickstarter coming up, we could talk about that a bit more, and also as the episodes come out, we could also talk about the episodes as they come out, what we liked about them, things that happened.
Yes.
With possibly some minor spoilers. We will put a spoilers warning ahead of time, of course, as we do not wish to ruin it for anyone.
And in regards to the actual show itself, Critical Role, when we do discuss that on Critical T, yes, there will be spoiler warnings, but those sorts of discussions regarding the shows themselves won't be every single week or every other week as our show is going to be, to begin with. What it will be is with the Critical Role shows, if we do discuss them, we're going to be watching a 2 or 3 weeks worth of shows before we actually discuss anything on our show. So it gives us that buffer in order to be able to sort out what materials to use, clip.
We can also chip as well.
Well, yeah, I suppose we can chip away at a few bits and pieces here and there. But it allows us to clip, say, 30 seconds or so of the show for us to use, hopefully with fair use. I'm sure YouTube will agree 30 seconds is fine. for review and reference purposes.
Mm.
Sorry, I just don't want any copyright
No,
strikes.
not at all.
Um,
No, YouTube is a fair and totally safe place to put such things up.
completely.
So,
So yeah, we'll be doing that sort of thing maybe monthly rather than every other week.
yeah, our current scheduling is that the show will air every other Saturday.
Yeah.
At the moment, as of course we have our own lives as well going on, and things change schedule-wise. But we'll try and keep to a specific time frame as best we can.
So ideally, we would like to see our show going out about 7 p.m. GMT on a Saturday night, which I'm hoping for those that go clubbing is early enough that you can catch, lasting hopefully for about an hour, so that maybe whilst you're getting ready you can have it on in the background.
Or those who have D&D games going on that night.
Yes. There's also that. Hopefully it'll be early enough for you to be able to catch those as well, before your game starts, maybe at 8 o'clock.
Or maybe a bit earlier, who knows.
But also we're hoping it's late enough that you'd have time to get home from work, have some dinner, tea, whatever,
and just have us on just to relax and have a nice sort of relaxing evening.
whilst we analyse and embarrass ourselves.
Yeah. We are doing this for you.
So as you're aware, this show in itself, it's not live. This is pre-recorded, but we are doing this whole show in one take. So it's live in the sense of if we mess up, you're going to see it.
It's staying. The bloopers stay in.
We're going to be operating on a one-take policy for most of our shows. The only shows where that might not happen would be if we do later on down the line things like board games. Got a whole shelf here. You can only see half of it though. And you know, sort of like arts and crafts type things, which we do plan on doing at some point. Although it's not going to be art as in drawing stuff. It's going to be arts and crafts as in we have things like 3D terrain for D&D to make and paint.
Props that you could make for your games so you can hand out to your players, other such handouts and such.
Yep. And we are also trying to persuade a certain member of the team who's behind the scenes with us to... And we're trying to encourage her into working with the Slayer's Cake, which is a group on Facebook, taking the recipes that they do and put up and see if she can recreate them in the kitchen for you to enjoy, so that maybe over a short period of time we'll have that sort of thing pre-recorded. That won't be live for a number of reasons. But yes, having a look at people's recipes in Slayer's Cake, looking at sort of baking and cooking advice, arts and crafts stuffs, etc. We might at some point, we've got plenty of Lego that needs to be built as well, so we might, as a sort of little side recording, do a few bits and pieces like that, maybe of us making my new Lego sets.
These are all rather long-term goals for what we're hoping that this channel will grow into, and we're hoping to expand it as much as we can and try to promote cooperation with others rather than just keeping everything to ourselves. We want to promote. We do not want to just keep everything inside.
Cooperation and inclusion is two of the main things with us. However, on the subject of inclusion, one of the things I've not mentioned on shows coming up, possibly in the future, is one that is definitely going to be happening, and that is a D&D show in itself, where we are not DMing. Neither of us are going to be DMing it. We're going to be players. And the idea is we get people who have written their one shots, have and or are about to publish on DM's Guild, and maybe some independent people that are trying to push it out without without publishing it on somewhere like DM's Guild. And we get, if they're in the UK or they're willing to fly over at their own expense, we're going to look at getting them over, and they will host and DM their own D&D one-shots, and there'll be a group of us players who will be sitting around and playing this. So it's not going to be a campaign. It's going to be one-shots with new or sometimes the same characters over a course of maybe 6 to 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Depending on how well it goes.
Of course, we will provide links to places where you can find the adventures afterwards so that you yourselves can take these adventures and add them into your own games or just play them as one-shots. Play with it as you wish. Also, just remember to give thanks to the creators of these games, which is what we want to do.
Yes. Without the community, D&D wouldn't be what it is now. And we want to give these publishers a chance to... Not publishers, authors, the chance to DM the game and show their vision of what they've written, their descriptions, their creativity, and how they would translate it into a game of D&D. And then afterwards we can sit and have a chat with the authors, find out what their motivations are, that sort of thing.
Inspirations that they pull from and such.
Yep. So that would be a separate show, even though we'd be doing it all on the same day. But that would be a separate show afterwards. And I believe the D&D show for the one-shots might well be live. So keep that in mind.
Everything uncut.
Ooh. Yeah, you know that dick joke that... Carry on.
Another show that we will hopefully be putting out. Excuse me. I'm very phlegmy
Frog in
today.
the throat.
Yes. Another show that we want to put out is, not only do we love Critical Role, but we also love the game D&D ourselves.
Yes.
Especially myself. I have been playing for the past few years, and it has been interesting to see where it sort of started and how it's come from where it began to what it is now. So I'd like to go on to creating stuff that will talk about the people behind Dungeons & Dragons, both from the past and the current present. How each of the editions got started, what their publication went through, some of the backlash, as of course we had the Satanic Panic, and trying to explain those sort of things to those who may not know the history of Dungeons & Dragons and would like to learn more about it.
Yes, and that is a journey that I would absolutely love to go on with yourself. And the research and the amount of information out there about all of this is phenomenal. So really digging into the history of D&D, that's bringing a tear to my eye.
The Silmarillion of D&D.
Yes, that's one way of putting it. And where the original creators of D&D, Gary Gygax, etc.,
Dave Arneson, of course,
etc., where they got their inspiration from, sort of really looking at the origins of what made them sit around a table and decide, I know, role-playing a game with dice to determine the moves is going to be a good idea.
And why we need a screen up.
A screen?
The DM screen.
Oh, yes.
Where that came about.
Yeah, like, that's always... Mind you, saying that, D&D, DM's notes, etc. Some things you don't want players to see. But yeah.
That'll be something that we'll be talking about at some point.
Eventually.
I believe we've covered all the topics we want to.
More or less. I mean, when it comes to... other things that we're doing, I believe I do have one more hidden note.
Ah.
So, other things and features on our shows. There will be times when we are not going to be here,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully in about 6 months' time, we won't be with this set. We'll be with a much nicer, much better set. This is just a temporary thing. Please forgive us. But features and things. So we're going to have the Critter House D&D one shot.
Yes.
Which, for those that don't know, the Critter House is an event of several people that will turn up at one Airbnb home. We sit around, we enjoy Comic-Con, and we have fun. And normally we have a game of D&D. The D&D game that we are going to be playing is called The Witch Hunter's Nightmare, and it was written by moi. And I'm going to be DMing and hosting that. We aren't going to be live streaming it, as far as I'm aware. Mainly because we probably don't have all the cameras and equipment to live stream it. However, we will be recording it, and that will get published on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there'll be other events of that nature as well. So recently we had Critter Castle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend.
And I wasn't able to attend it either. However, the glorious and great wise Critter Mama was able to, and you can find them at Critical Role UK on the Facebook page.
Yep. And occasionally we will be having our Critter Mum, who all of you know and love so well and so much. Occasionally we will be having him on the show. We're hoping for maybe once a month.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more. We don't know. But we will have him here on our show on a fairly regular basis. And don't worry, when he's here, he's not going to be squeezed in the middle. The cat's going to still be squeezed in the middle. Fortunately, she's asleep behind the camera now. But yeah, we'll have a slightly different setup for those occasions when he's here. And yeah, there is one glaring feature that we have missed.
Which is?
Tea.
On the show we will be having, of course. The
Tea.
show is called Critical Tea. Therefore, we need tea.
Yep. And we will have cups of tea, freshly brewed pots of tea from various different vendors and makers and what have you. Recently, one of our hopeful feature spots, Beastly Beverages, the owner and creator of Beastly Beverages and the teas and coffees that they make, has come into some hardship. Have a look at Beastly Beverages and Tea Beast on Twitter, and see if you can show some support for Tea Beast.
Spread the love and support,
Beastly
guys.
Beverages. Please do spread the love and support for that. And we will be featuring Beastly Beverages teas on our show to begin with. They have a beautiful D&D range. However, the shop is currently on hiatus. So, unless you put your orders in last Comic-Con, there's no more till September. Which means we've got to be sparing with it.
Yeah. Unless we can smuggle some out somehow.
This is the reason why we don't have tea today. I want to save it for the main show.
Exactly.
And hopefully we'll be having some other, over time, and with enough viewers, we're hoping to gain sponsor spots with small independent individuals out there, such as Beastly Beverages. Hopefully, you can get back on your feet. We may be looking at a couple of slightly bigger ones further down the line, but Geeky Clean is wonderful, wonderful company. Sponsor us,
please.
Wonderful company, and we'll have
Well
their
persuasion.
products and make recommendations on some of their stuff to you, the viewers, as well. We are not sponsored by them at the moment. That may happen in the future. If it does, we will be open and honest about all of our sponsor spots.
Yep.
But we absolutely love their products, so even if we do put their products into the videos, like that candle, oh my god, it smells gorgeous. We're not being paid for that.
Yeah.
We will tell you if we are. So all of our transactions,
Either that or they'll know, as we've got candles like everywhere lit.
yeah. But
I
yeah,
mean, what?
all of our
And then we accidentally summon Bahamut or something.
Tiamat.
Oh,
Bahamut's
no.
not a problem.
Yeah,
Tiamat.
exactly. This video is sponsored by Tiamat, Scourge of the Nine Hells.
I've just finished my D&D Dragon Horde campaign. For the record, that ended in a TPK.
Excellent. I mean, what? I wasn't in it.
No, you weren't, thankfully.
I was the rogue in the background.
So yes, we are going to be looking for sponsors later on down the line. We are hoping to get a minimum number of viewers before we approach any of these companies for the sponsor spots, or before they approach us, whichever way happens.
Yeah. So we would appreciate it if you shared our company around. Just let the word out.
Spread the word, spread the good news, and in the words of Brian Foster, stay tuned.
And cease and desist.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Brian W. Foster, is that copyrighted? If so, I
Just checking, we
apologise.
apologise, seriously.
Yeah, it's cool. Also, there is one thing we did promise.
Which is?
Sam for president. Sam for president.
Sam for president. Vote Liam O'Brien.
So, we know we're not celebrities. And unlike your recent celebrity endorsement, where none of them seem to be able to remember your name, Sam Rogel? No. Sam Regal. Regal. We decided that we would do our own endorsement video. We're not celebrities yet. Maybe we never will be.
Up and coming, you never know.
But whatever the case is, here's our celebrity endorsement to Sam Regal, Sam for president.
Sam for president. Vote Liam
Oh, sorry.
O'Brien.
So, can you remember what the actual endorsement words were? Think about Samerica.
Sam America.
Samerica.
I think that's all we need at this point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and that he was honest? No, decent.
Decent.
And I can't remember the other ones.
This is the quality you'll be getting in our videos.
Maybe. But yeah, hashtag Sam for president on Twitter. We endorse Sam for president. Come on, say it.
We endorse Sam for president. Liam O'Brien.
He wants Liam, I want Sam. There we go. We're at odds there, but hey, hashtag Sam for president.
Hashtag Liam O'Brien for president. We'll let you decide.
You can decide, but we endorse Sam Riegel.
I feel like there's going to be a major debate in our videos now. Just like, it's gonna...
Although, admittedly, Liam did have the better campaign. I mean, it is a bit weird, though, don't you think, that Sam Riegel would have to get celebrity endorsement? I mean, surely that's a clear sign he's not winning this campaign.
Obviously.
And what has Liam actually done? One video.
But it was a strong video.
Yeah, it really was, actually. It was much stronger than Sam's. No, you're not converting me. Hashtag Sam for president. I want a singing president for D&D Beyond.
Well, with that, I think that's all of our agendas cleared.
Yes, it is. And
we would like to thank you for tuning in. And we hope that you have a very good Saturday.
Yes, indeed. Well, by the time this goes out, it'll be Saturday evening.
Saturday evening, yeah.
But yes, we hope you have a wonderful time. We thank you for tuning in and watching this mess of a very first show. So yes, let's leave it there, shall we?
Indeed.
Enjoy. Sam for president.
Liam O'Brien.
Sam.
Liam.
Sam.
Liam.
Sam.